Hello, and welcome to this channel, Highly Sensitive Wisdom. My name is Susanna, and today's topic is a really transcendental topic and a really super exciting topic that is the power of intuition. This is a topic that I really love, and also because I have had a well-developed intuition ever since I was a teenager. Well-developed in comparison with my peers. An intuition that has been guiding me on my journey called life, in my decision making. And by the time I'm recording this video, I am 41, and I have had lots of experiences in different countries around the world, and both, what you would call good experiences and what you would call bad experiences. And I can say without any doubt at all, when I have listened to my intuition, when I have followed my intuition, I've had great experiences. I have had experiences that have enriched my life in multiple ways, that have expanded my consciousness, that have helped me grow exponentially as a person. And when I have not listened to my intuition, when I have relied only on, rational logic, that's when I have been deceived and when I have had experiences that have made me suffer. So I can see very clearly it's like day and night, whether I listened to my intuition or I did not. So in this video, I want to share a few examples of my first-hand experiences of, following intuition and the results of that, because sometimes people can be, people who live mostly in their mind, they can be a bit skeptical about intuition, or maybe they don't trust their own intuition, even though they would want to. And I will also back it up, with some information from a book that has been with us the last couple of videos, Pure Human by Gregg Braden. And I will also share an experience of when I lost that connection with my intuition. It only lasted for a few days, but yeah, it was terrifying to lose that guidance when I have been so reliant on that guidance for decades. So if you enjoy this content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and also share your aha moments in the comment section so that we can inspire and uplift each other. And thank you in advance for your participation. So before I share my experiences with you, dear watcher, I want to read a passage, Pure Human by Gregg Braden. It was published in 2025. I have been reading a few passages already in previous videos. I will link to those videos in the description. One is called God Eternal Within the Body, and the other is called Your DNA is an Antenna. And I will put the links in the description below. So you can watch those if you haven't already, or rewatch them. So, it's from chapter 8, Pure Human, the Keys, about our intuition. So, we're in for a treat. So, I quote, "We are the only form of life that can create a superhuman response and super resilience to our rapidly changing world, awaken longevity enzymes, and create elevated states of super learning, super memorization, super cognition, and more, all at the time and place of our personal choosing. The DNA evidence shows us that our anatomically modern human ancestors were given these extraordinary abilities and many more on the day they mysteriously appeared on the earth. These abilities have been with us every day since that time, and they remain with us today. Although we're seldom informed or reminded of our exceptional abilities that give us deeper meaning to our lives, they are part of us nonetheless. It's the undeniable fact of these extraordinary powers that points us to our inevitable destiny. We're a species meant to express our powers and live the truth of our human divinity. We're wired to awaken the innate abilities that we've thought of in the past as supernatural powers, and we're wired to embrace these abilities as a natural part of our everyday lives. When we embrace our specialness, the power of our divinity, we give ourselves the reasons to think differently about ourselves, one another, and our relationship to the world around us. We feel empowered to trust our abilities of healing and intuition as they inform us through our choices and our decision-making processes. When we accept our divinity, we learn to trust and to rely upon our intuition for everything from managing the details of business and our livelihood to resolving the challenges that inevitably arise in our most intimate relationships. To accept our divinity and embrace the humanness that makes our divinity possible in this world means we are leveling the playing field in every aspect of our lives. We do so by awakening our ability to transcend our perceived limitations, which is the very definition of our divinity. In living in the fullness of our innate capacities, we ensure the future of our species and mark the course correction for the new human story. As we stand in the fullness of our power, it is impossible for us to be deceived by the dark forces that are sweeping through our societies and across the nations of the earth today. In the fullness of our power, we can no longer be reduced to the status of powerless victims in the battle between good and evil. As we learn to trust our divinity, we will also awaken our natural desire for the freedom that leads us to become the best versions of ourselves and to create the best world possible. The key to living our pure human destiny is that we must choose to embrace it. End of quote. So, our we have many supernatural powers, yes, and we are being conditioned to think of those as just ooh or not serious stuff. But this is very serious stuff. Our intuition is what will guide us to our greatest destiny and to reaching our fullest potential, to having our most fulfilling experiences, and also to do things that seem impossible from your current viewpoint, from your current circumstances or your current life situation. So, intuition, because when we are confined in our minds, we are limited to, just perceiving the physical and material aspects of reality, and that is the reality we're living currently, right? And we project the future as a linear continuation of what we are currently living when we live inside our mind. With our intuition, intuition, sorry, we receive guidance from higher realms of reality where there is a much broader and higher perspective, seeing things that we do not see yet. So we are being guided, to do things that in our current circumstances, in our current reality, seems maybe impossible, or it seems not logical, or it seems like it just doesn't make sense. But when we have this very strong nudge within us, like pushing us to do this, and you have this intuitive guidance, you just cannot not do it, And once you do it, just once you trust that inner guidance, and once you let go of the fear or the doubts or the voices from people around you, and you do it anyway, then magic happens, truly. So the first experience I want to share from my own life experience, this happened over 20 years ago. I was in high school, I was studying languages. What you need to know about me at the time, I was very shy. I was very shy growing up, and also as a teenager. And first, when I discovered a passion for languages, I had no idea why or what for, why study languages or what will I use them for, because I was so shy, I didn't speak almost with anyone, and I just didn't understand what I was going to do with those languages. But I had, that was also intuition, and the experience I want to share is that then one day our English teacher brought a guy to the class who was doing how do you say, an experience of intercultural exchange. He was from the US, and our English teacher brought him to the class so that we could practice English with a native speaker, right? But I didn't focus, on practicing my English. I was focusing on what he was telling us about his experiences of doing an exchange like that, in another country. That sounded just super fascinating or super exciting. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that, I just felt super inspired. And then I arrived home, and in the letterbox there was this ad saying, "Hey, do you want to go abroad? Doing the cultural experience, And then they said, "New for this year, you can go to Brazil." And I was like, "Oh, Brazil, that sounds nice." And I went online and started searching, for opportunities of going abroad as a student, right, to do that kind of intercultural change. So I searched a few different countries. I applied to a few different organizations, and yeah, only a few months later, I arrived in Brazil, in Porto Alegre, in the south of Brazil. And what you need to know also, about the intuition part, which is what I want to discuss, is that people around me, they were such naysayers. They only saw obstacles because they were, thinking from their minds, right? There were only two people who believed in me and my ability of doing it. It was my mother and my then best friend. Everyone else was like, "Oh no, you're too shy. How are you going to manage? Or where will you get the money from to do that kind of things? Or what for? You're just wasting your time." Or there's all kinds of excuses, all kinds of obstacles, like no, that's impossible, why you bother, or that kind of mentality, just seeing from their very limited mind perspective and the current reality, current circumstances. But I had this very strong intuition that I needed to go to Brazil and do this experience for a year. It was very strong. At the time, I didn't know about God. At the time, I didn't even know there was a word for intuition. I just said, like, yeah, I'm following the signs. I'm following the signs. I'm following the signs. And the signs are very clear. I had to go to Brazil. So I went there for a year. And, to this day, that's the best experience I've had in my entire life. So clearly, I had to go. And that was just such a revolution in my life. Just expanded my uh, my awareness, expanded, the possibilities of what is even possible in this lifetime. Yeah, it was truly a revolution, before and after, and it opened so many doors for me after that also, both opened my mind, opened my heart, opened my hunger for, going abroad again, living abroad again, getting to know other cultures. And yeah, I didn't even speak Portuguese when I arrived because Portuguese wasn't taught in my school. I had studied some Spanish, and those are, those similar, but yeah, I wasn't fluent in Spanish either at the time. So I didn't speak a word of Portuguese when I arrived, and that never even occurred to me that could be a problem. I just went, I just followed the signs. I followed my intuition and just went, and yeah, it's something I want to share also from that experience is that there was this girl in the class, Denise, and she was we instantly connected, right? And when she spoke Portuguese, because since I was a beginner in Portuguese, it took a few months before I could speak the language, even though I was studying languages actively as a high school student. So my brain was already trained to learn languages very quickly. So after 8 months in Brazil, I was fluent in Portuguese. For the first few months, yeah, I had to, really make an effort, to learn the language. And I was constantly carrying my dictionary because the internet was not well developed at the time. So I was always, carrying my dictionary, looking for words, all the time. But there was this one girl, Denise, and when she spoke Portuguese, I understood what she said. And this was visible also for other people to see, including the teachers. So, for instance, sometimes, or many times, the teachers would say to Denise by the end of the class, please translate to Susanna what we have been, the content we have been, studying today. And she would translate to me from Portuguese to Portuguese. And when she said it, I understood everything. And when other people spoke in Portuguese, I didn't understand. And yeah, and Denise and her family became my host family for 6 months and during that stay in Brazil. And we stayed in touch many years after that. I went to visit several times after that. Um, and that's just one example of how we need to, um, well, we benefit greatly in our spiritual journey, our evolution, um, to make that kind of leap of faith and listen to that intuition and listen to that guidance, because yeah, truly, we don't know, we have a very limited um, understanding when we are confined within our minds. So if we want to expand our consciousness, we want to, see further and go further and, truly um, go beyond what we even believe to be possible, then we need to listen to our intuition. So that experience in Brazil laid the foundation for all the other experiences I've had abroad. And had I known back then how good Brazil was, I would have stayed in Brazil. but yeah, contrast is good also because it helps us to become more aware of what is truly important, what truly matters to us. And also, yeah, we extract whatever experience, whatever wisdom we can from those experiences. So when it comes to consciousness, it's never wasted. But yeah, if you compare to the version of me before Brazil and the version of me after Brazil, like two different, completely different people. That's how revolutionary that experience was. So that was why my intuition was so strong and, was pushing me so hard that I had to do that experience because, yeah, that came from a higher power, a higher realm of reality, knowing that that was in my best interest, that was for my highest good, and that I needed to do that experience, right? And then another experience also with intuition. That was when I was living in France, and that decision was not made with intuition. Had I checked in with my intuition, I wouldn't have had all those struggles. So that was, yeah, moving to France was a mind-based decision, with the logic of the human logic. And yeah, I suffered a lot there, as you know, but I also learned a lot. So now I trust my intuition every time when my intuition says something to me so that I don't waste more time unnecessarily. But what I wanted to share is that I was living in France. I had been there for like a year and a half, and my intuition was telling me very strongly it was time for me to go visit friends in South America. And I had really this desire to go visit them and recharge my batteries. I love South America. I completely love South America, and I always feel energized when I have been there to visit. I always feel um, I feel more like me when I've been there. So my intuition was telling me very strongly, it's time for you to go to South America. So I was going to visit friends in Brazil, Bolivia, and Chile. And by the time I bought the tickets 2 months prior to the actual trip, from looking at the circumstances, looking at the material reality at the time, that seemed to be a very bad point in time, because yeah, I was burnt out, so a trip wouldn't seem logical. Um, I was I was going to Bolivia, and by the time I bought the tickets, there was a huge crisis, water crisis in that country. It was so bad that one of the largest lakes had gone completely dry. People didn't even have water to shower every day. The prices of bottled water was through the roof. Yeah, it was the worst crisis that country had of water for several decades. It was really, really, really bad. So that would seem like, yeah, that's the worst time ever to go visit Bolivia when there is this water crisis. But my intuition was very strong. You have to go, and you have to go now. I bought the tickets. I went, as I said, to Brazil, Bolivia, and Chile. And yeah, when I arrived to Bolivia, the water crisis had been resolved, by political, intervention. And there was no sign whatsoever that there had ever been a crisis. You couldn't even see there had been a crisis just 2 months prior. Everything was back to normal. So I didn't feel that crisis at all when I went. Um, and yeah, also during that trip, I had so good experiences, great experiences. So when I arrived to France, that unblocked the situation for me because already back then I was stuck in my situation in France. But that trip was able to unblock that situation, right? So I could move forward and learn all the things that I had to learn there that I've been sharing in this channel in previous videos. So that was also something when I was following my intuition, and yeah, it didn't seem logical from a mind viewpoint, from a mind, how do you say? Yeah, from the mind's logic, right? But the intuition, yeah, we are channeling this information from a higher realm of reality, from a higher power. And that higher power has a lot more information than we do. That higher power has a much broader view of things and also a much deeper awareness than we do as humans. So we really need to honor that intuition and that guidance and follow what the guidance is telling us to do, right? And then we will have great experiences and unblocking situations that need to be unblocked. And then I wanted to share also so this when my intuition was cut off for a few days, which I found terrifying because I have been so used to listening to my intuition. So this was during the pandemic of the COVID-19. I was in France. There were lockdowns. This was during the first lockdown, and what happened is that there was this a massive panic, generalized panic. No one saw it coming. The French government gave us less than 24 hours of notice, so no one has had really the time to prepare or to emigrate or something to get away from the lockdowns. So we were all locked in for 23 hours a day for weeks in a row. I developed really bad eczema that spread really fast, and yeah, everyone was just in panic. And then for a few days, it was less than a week, but I remember clearly I lost that connection with my intuition, and I suddenly gained a very acute awareness how most people, or many people at least, I don't have the statistics, but many people who don't have this well-developed intuition, they lived like cut off from this guidance system, and they have to rely on outside sources for information. And I, with this very acute awareness, I just realized why there is so much fear in the world, and why there is so much yeah, why there are so many misunderstandings, why there is so much struggle in the world, because without this guidance from a higher realm of reality guiding you, seeing beyond what is obvious to the physical senses, what is obvious for the here and the now, yeah, it's difficult to make really informed choices, because yeah, then you truly are dependent on outside sources for information, and those outside sources of information are not always reliable. The most reliable information you will ever receive is information you receive through your intuition. That information is pure, so to speak. It's not it has not been manipulated, it has not been distorted. It's you're channeling this information from a higher power that has your best interests at heart. So when you follow your intuition, that's a completely different story. So as I said, to outsiders, those kind of decisions could seem odd or like, yeah, not logical at all. Like you have to follow the, the norms of the status quo. Intuition doesn't care about status quo. It's so much higher vibrating reality, that we are channeling. So these experiences have been very, yeah, and these are only a few, because yeah, I do use my intuition on an ongoing basis in my everyday life. I check in on my intuition daily. Using muscle testing also. That's also a form of intuition. A tool you can use, an intuitive tool that we use a lot with energy work. When I do work with clients, emotion code, body code, and belief code. And I will also drop the links to emotion code, body code, and belief code in the description for my website if you want more information about that. But yeah, that's also a tool for intuition. So we use also intuition in energy work to connect with the client, and to find answers to what is going on with the client and what needs to be done for the client to move on in their life, right? And to release whatever needs to be released, and get relief also from whatever suffering or whatever problems they are going through. So intuition is it's just such an amazing guidance system, such an amazing navigation system in this world. Because yeah, we do live in a world of illusions. We do live in a world where perception can often be, yeah, manipulated or distorted. I did record another video about perception. It's called The Power of Perception. I will also put the link to that in the description if you haven't watched that yet. So yeah, perception has everything to do with the mind. Intuition has to do with, a lot more than that. So yeah, as Gregg Braden said here in the quote that I quoted in the beginning of this video, that intuition gives us access to our supernatural powers, our superpowers that we have been given, that have been with us all along, but usually they have been dormant. We have not been aware that we have them, or we have maybe not explored how to use them. And Yeah, now is a good time to start. If you're not, using those abilities already, if you're not using your intuition already, and truly using your intuition, you can make quantum leaps in your life, in your story. You don't have to stay stuck and just turn in circles, and being, yeah, feeling stuck and frustrated and being passive aggressive about your circumstances, because you do have the power to transcend them. And intuition is a great way to transcend whatever is holding you back in the present moment. So intuition can truly help you to make quantum leaps and to, yeah, do what seems to be impossible, right? So I want to leave you with this message of encouragement, inspiration. Um, yeah, do what's impossible. You don't have to conform to what other people think is possible or um, logical, or what other people expect from you, because so many people conform to other people's expectations, and then they live someone else's life and not their own. You have one life on this earth, at least in this body and with this personality trait and with these talents that you have been given. um, so use it wisely. I mean, use it to the fullest, and don't just conform to what others expect from you. Then you can have, if you just follow what others expect from you, you can have perfect facade but being very miserable inside, and that doesn't help you. That doesn't help anyone. You're here to thrive. You're here to, express your fullest, you know, express yourself to the fullest, of your potential and of all your talents, and truly, being happy and free. So yeah, do listen to your intuition, and I promise you, it gets better with practice. If you're not used to using your intuition, or you don't trust your intuition, or you don't know where to start, yeah, just know that your intuition is with you all the time. Your intuition is always available to you. You are the one who have had to make the decision, and to choose to tune into your intuition, and to have the courage to listen to it and to take action on it. Because intuition in and of itself cannot do much if you do not take action on it, right? So intuition is a guidance system. But if you don't want to be guided, or if you don't want to take action on that guidance, that doesn't really help you. So the more you tune into your intuition, the more you listen to it, the more you take action on it, um, the stronger your intuition will be also, because it's like a feedback loop, right? So when you receive your guidance through the intuition, you take action on it, you realize that, oh, I'm learning a lot here, or I'm growing a lot here, or have experiences that I never imagined I would have. Um, and then increasingly that, yeah, I can trust my intuition. I do realize that intuition can help me make quantum leaps in my life, and that I can move forward so much faster using my intuition, and that the responses or the answers I receive are so much more accurate, and that I don't have to be second guessing or doubting the information I'm receiving, when it comes from my intuition. So you just need to separate what comes from your intuition and what comes from outside sources. And yeah, outside sources, yeah, they still are like voices in our minds, right? They still have influence over us. And sometimes it's difficult to know if something comes from me or from someone else, because we interiorize so many things from the outside world, from people around us, and they become part of us even though they are not actually ours. Um, so yeah, it just makes that distinction. Like, is it something that I'm receiving from someone else, or is it truly my intuition? Because when it is your intuition, it's like it's very difficult to resist your intuition when the guidance is very strong. Like, you have to do this, or you have to um, yeah, do this trip, for instance. You have to do this experience in Brazil, or you need to do whatever it is you need to do. Like, it's almost like God has lined up these plans for you, these blessings for you, or these teaching moments for you, and you just have to trust the guidance that you receive, and have the courage to move forward, and have the courage to actually do it. Because, yeah, as I said, even if you have your intuition but you don't take action on it, yeah, nothing will happen, right? It will just be like a fire inside of you uh, that will not be satisfied, you know. But when you do take action on it, that's where the magic happens. And that's when you will say, wow, life is wonderful. Life is beautiful. Thank you, God, you know, for this experience. This is just amazing. So yeah, I hope you will trust your intuition more often and take action on it more often. And actually, that is also something we can reprogram with the belief code and reprogramming of your subconscious mind. We can install programs about intuition. For instance, um, I follow my intuition and find the support I need, or I trust my intuition. I can discern who to trust. That kind of statements we can install to strengthen your intuition and then have your subconscious mind um, help you following your intuition so that it becomes part of your programming, that intuition is an integral part of your programming, and then it also will become much easier for you. So both those things are things you can do. You can train your intuition by following it often, and you can reprogram your subconscious mind to have your subconscious mind work on autopilot and calling in your intuition like part of your mental programming, so that it also over time becomes easier for you to trust your intuition and have that inner guidance system. Because truly, when you have this inner guidance system, you have this inner strength, you have this inner resilience, and you have this inner knowing, then whatever happens outside of you, that is not really relevant. You know, what matters is what's going on in here. And when you have that guidance system, you can stand, firm. You can stand in your power, and that's also a statement we can install in your subconscious. I stand in my power. It's a great statement to have. A very empowering statement to have. I stand in my power. But yeah, when you have this inner guidance system, you truly stand in your power, and then you will be less affected, but by other people and what's going on around you and your circumstances, because we don't want to be at the mercy of circumstances, right? We don't want to be powerless victims. We don't want to be shaken by what's happening around us. We want to stand firm in our power and be able to trust this inner knowing and trust this guidance we are receiving, and move forward with confidence and with conviction, and make that leap of faith. So I hope you will take action I hope you will take action, inspired action on your intuition, and move forward with whatever it is you need to move forward with in your life. And when you have those intuitive downloads, also, write it down. Make the most of it. Take this seriously, because true intuition is a wonderful help to guide us during our life's journey, which has its ups and downs, and not always easy. But yeah, make the most of it. Yeah, that is my piece of advice for today. So I will see you soon in another video. Stay hydrated, take care of yourself, and bye for now.